Hi everyone, my name is Sonia, and this is a yoga session that's designed for people who are recently coming out of a surgery or an injury. Maybe you just got out of rehab, or you're living with a chronic condition such as Parkinson's disease or arthritis, something that limits your movement. It's a very gentle yoga practice, but you do want to get your doctor's okay. Especially if you just had a hip or a knee surgery and you might have some precautions for movements that you're not supposed to do. Be sure that you are cleared to begin a gentle yoga practice. You might notice that I'm 5 months pregnant. This is a great yoga practice to do while you're pregnant, but it's not really geared towards that. But I thought I would let you know since it's a little bit obvious. So to start, we're going to do a little bit of a postural and body awareness meditation. So just scoot forward in your chair. You're going to plant your feet on the ground. You can wear shoes for this practice or have bare feet. Make sure you're not wearing socks because that will be too slippery. You want to be seated on a nice firm chair, not something really squishy, because you want to really be able to feel a firm surface beneath you for stability. So bring your hands onto your thighs, and then you can just allow your eyes to fall closed. If you feel any dizziness or unsteadiness, you can open your eyes at any time, but it can be nice to close the eyes because you become more aware of sensations in the body. So from here, begin to become aware of the contact that your feet are making with the ground. Relax your toes, allow them to spread wide. Feel equal weight falling into the floor through the ball of the feet and the heel. Let your awareness slide up through the ankle, up through the calf, all the way up through your knee. Not really doing anything, just feeling those parts of your body. Noticing the fold of the knee, the bend, as your awareness slides up into your thighs. Notice the weight of your thighs, back of your thighs falling into the seat of the chair. And then becoming aware of the weight in your hips and your pelvis. Fold where your legs meet your trunk. From that weight of your pelvis rooting down into your chair, begin to allow your spine to lengthen. Not with any sense of tightness, nothing like a military stance, more as though your spine is reaching up towards the sky like a plant reaching up towards the sun. There's a sense of softness even as you grow into your full height. Feeling the sides of your waist long. The breastbone lifts. Sometimes when you begin to lift up in this way, the shoulders start to creep up. So allow the shoulders to soften away from the ears. And allow yourself to feel really broad across the chest and upper back. As if your collarbones are reaching away from each other. And there's a feeling of width through the body. Nice wide shoulders. Easy bend in your elbows as your arms hang, hands resting on the thighs. Release any tension that's in your fingers or your hands or your wrists. And then beginning to notice where your head is in space. Most of us tend to have a slightly jutted forward head. So draw the skull slightly back, feeling as though your ears are in line with your shoulders. And the crown of your head is opening up towards the sky. Jawline parallel to the ground. And this is a lot of different parts to think about at once, so if you start to feel overwhelmed, just know that there's no perfect way to do this. And wherever you are is perfectly good right now. Breathing gently, feeling the body aligned in space, wide and tall, rooted and light. From here, let your eyes softly open. So from here, we're going to start our movement practice. And I just want to emphasize that there should be no sharp local pain while you're doing this practice. So if anything that you start to do starts to feel like, ooh, that really hurts in my back or in my hip, back off. Do it a little bit less strong, a little bit less range of motion perhaps. Nothing should hurt. It might be a little bit uncomfortable, it might be a little bit new, but nothing should feel painful. So for this first movement that we're going to do, I'm going to turn my chair sideways. You can leave your chair as it is, but this will give you a bit of a better picture. So I'm going to turn this chair sideways. And this first movement centers right in your pelvis. It's called an anterior and a posterior tilt, which sounds very fancy. Basically, it's a forward tilt and a backwards tilt. So for this forward tilt, and these two little hip bones right here, you're going to move those hip bones down and forward. This arches your lower back, and it brings your pubic bone forward, your tailbone back. For the posterior tilt, it's just the opposite. The hip bones go back and up away from the thighs, and the lower back curves. I'll scoot a little forward so you can see. And you kind of come into this tucked position. So once again, for that anterior tilt, you're arching the lower back. It's really sort of a round movement of the pelvis, forward and down in the front. And for the posterior tilt, it's like you're rolling backwards and tucking under. Some of you might be able to feel actually your sitting bones, these little points of the pelvis down into the chair. When you come into this forward tilt, you're sitting right up on top of them. And when you come into the backward tilt, your weight shifts a little bit behind them. So this movement of your pelvis, which many of us tend to not move our pelvis very much, is super important for a lot of important functional movements in our day-to-day life. So for this posterior tilt, this one I'm in right here, this is the position you need to be in to tie your shoes or put on your socks, right? If you're in this position and trying to get to your foot, it's very hard. In the anterior tilt, posterior tilt, much easier. In the anterior tilt, this is sort of the foundation for going from sit all the way up to stand. So something to think about after this practice. So for now, just allow yourself to move between this posterior tilt and the anterior tilt. Notice that my whole trunk is not moving forward and backward so much. The movement is really happening right in my pelvis and my lower back. Your movements might be a lot smaller than mine to start, and that's perfectly okay. Over time, they'll get bigger as your body gets used to this movement. Good. From here, we're going to let this movement start to move into the rest of our spine. So as you move into the anterior tilt, the forward tilt, allow that movement to kind of reverberate up the spine so you begin to lift the chest, lift the chin, and come into an arch. And as you begin to come into this posterior tilt, this tuck, round the back, bring your chin down towards your chest, and allow your upper back to round. As you inhale, gently come into the anterior tilt, arching the spine, lift the chest, lift the gaze, lift your chin, shoulders broad, and then exhale, rounding. Shoulders come forward, tucking the tailbone under, rounding the spine. Inhaling to arch. And exhaling to curl. Inhaling to arch. And exhaling to curl. Inhaling to arch. And exhaling to curl. Come back to neutral. And I'll turn my chair again so you can see me forward. So this next position, or next movement rather, is a side bend. So bring your legs a little bit wider. You're still on the front edge of your chair, so you're not leaning back against the back. You can bring your hands onto your knees. Your legs might be this wide, they might be a little bit narrower depending on your own body. So from here, reach your right arm all the way up towards the sky. Get really long on that right side. From here, you're going to become so long that you're actually going to become a little bit coming into the side. So you're stretching that whole right side of the body. Some of you may actually be able to bring your left elbow down to the knee. Some of you might keep your hand there. You should get a nice big stretch along your outer ribs, your waist. Good, and then inhale to come all the way back up. Let's do the other side. So bringing your left arm up. Reach so tall through the left side, so long on that side of the body that you come all the way over. Elbow to knee or hand to knee. Try not to be too much in this position. Really extend through the chest so that you have a nice side body reach. Get longer to come back up. Let's do that again. First side, getting nice and long on the right side. And then coming all the way over. You can let your head kind of hang down a little bit if it's okay on the neck. And inhale to come up. Second side. Growing tall first, and then into the side bend. So from here, step your feet back together, back into this parallel position. And we're going to come into a spinal twist. So for this spinal twist, you're going to take your left hand and place it on your right knee. And you're going to take your right hand, grab onto the side of the chair. You can grab onto the leg, you can grab onto the seat, you can grab onto the back of the chair, wherever it feels pretty comfortable to hold on. From here, before you twist, inhale to grow really nice and tall through the center. And then as you exhale, just turn your chest to the right, using your hands to help assist you in this twist. Really watching yourself. If you've had any major spinal surgery or you've had some slip discs, this might be one that you want to be super gentle with. Good, and release back to center. And we'll go to the other side. So taking your left hand down to the side of the chair, holding onto the leg or the seat. Right hand to left knee, inhale to grow tall. And then exhale to gently twist to the left. Letting your head and neck turn as well, as if they're just a continuation of the back and your spine. Release back to center. Let's do the first side one more time. So bringing your right hand down, left hand to right knee. Inhale to grow tall, and exhale to twist. See what's in front of you. Let your face be soft. Release back to center. Second side. Grabbing onto the back or side of the chair, hand to the knee. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to turn. Releasing back to center. 2 hands to the knees. Take a moment to scoot back in your chair and just relax against the back of the chair. That was actually a lot of work in your back to be sitting up for so long. So you want to just take a moment to release all that effort. If you'd like, you can even close your eyes and take a moment to actually feel what your body feels like after about 15 minutes of movement and yoga practice. Maybe there's a different temperature in the body, a different feeling, a sensation. Maybe even a change in your mood. Opening your eyes and sitting forward once again. Let's get our legs a little bit active. So some people might want to hold on to their legs for this. Some people might want to hold on to the seat of the chair. You'll have to figure out what works for you. Lengthen your left leg up in front of you. You're just going to flex and point. So it's really a movement through the foot and ankle. Flex and point. And your range of motion might increase as you go. Might start out pretty small and then get bigger. And then from here, you can make little circles through the ankle. Your thigh is probably working pretty hard right now, but that's not a bad thing. Good. Re-lengthen through the spine if you've started to collapse a little bit. Good, and then release that leg down, and we'll do the other leg. So reaching long, and point, and flex, and point, and flex, point, and flex. Continuing to breathe as you do this movement. And then circling through the ankle. You might notice that one side feels really different than the other. It's pretty typical. Switch to the other way. And then release the leg down. This next posture is a nice hip stretch movement. So the first thing you're going to do is come into that posterior tilt that we talked about in the beginning of the session. So you're kind of in a rounded back position. And then you're going to interlace your fingers, reach down for your left knee. See if you can bring your left knee up into your hands, pull that knee in towards your chest. You'll probably feel a stretch along the back, along the hip. Good, then from here, take your right hand and grab onto the ankle, open that knee out to the side. Not all of us will be able to get into this position. If you can, great. If not, it might look something more like this. Or you might just have the ankles crossed. I'll show this position for now. From here, you're in that posterior tilt. Sit nice and tall, so you're more in an upright, maybe an anterior tilt position of the pelvis. Lift up through the chest, and then any amount, keeping the spine long, begin to move your chest forward. So my back is pretty straight here. I'm not coming forward like this. I'm really, really extended. This allows me to get a nice stretch in that outer hip. Good, breathing here. For many of us, this stretch is going to be very intense. So try your best to stay relaxed and easy through it. Sometimes it's kind of nice to imagine that you have, like a set of lungs right in that hip. And see if you can breathe right into that hip. Allowing the muscle to soften somewhat. Good, and then sitting back up. Bring the knee back into the chest for a breath. And then release the foot down, and we'll switch to the other side. Find the posterior tilt first. Interlace your fingers, bring the knee into the hands, and pull the knee in towards your chest. Take a few breaths here, feeling the stretch along your lower back, along your hip. And then then grabbing onto the ankle with your left hand, opening that leg. Once again, variations might be here, might be here, might be here. Wherever you are, sit up nice and tall, broad chest, lifting up through the heart, and then folding forward from your hip crease, keeping the spine nice and long. And some deep breaths here. Imagining that with each exhalation, you could release a little bit through that outer hip. Letting those muscles start to stretch and lengthen. Sitting back up. Bring the knee back into your chest for a breath. And then releasing it down. Okay, your body should be feeling pretty loose now. You've gotten to a lot of parts of it. We're going to do a little bit of flow right now, a little bit of flowing movement, and then we'll settle in for our final relaxation. Release your hands down by your sides. Turn your hands open, palms out. Inhale, reach wide and up, letting your eyes follow your hands all the way up until they come together overhead. Exhale, pressing the palms together, coming through the very center until your thumbs rest in the center of your chest. Inhale up through the center, pressing the palms together. When your arms are pretty straight, separate the hands, palms facing out, and exhale to release all the way down by your sides. Let's repeat that a few times. So palms face out, inhale, reach up. Exhale through the center. Inhale through the center. And exhale wide. I'm allowing my whole spine to respond to this movement. So rather than just a movement through the arms, I feel it through my whole trunk, even through my pelvis. The breath and the movement happen together. Inhale to rise the hands up. Exhale to lower. Inhale wide and up. Exhale down through the center. Rest your hands on your thighs. So at this point in the practice, we're going to do a final relaxation meditation. Now, if you would like to continue on and do some standing postures, you're going to pause the video and move on to the next video in the segment. And you'll get a relaxation at the end of that one as well. If you don't want to do standing postures, then you're going to continue on with this video and we'll do a little relaxation here. Okay, so for this last relaxation, you're actually going to let yourself slump a little bit. So scoot back in the chair, rest your back on the back of your chair. You can open your legs a little bit, let your thighs fall open. Let your chin drop down. As long as you're comfortable, you just really want to be in a very relaxed position. Bring your hands to your belly. And from here, as long as you're comfortable, close your eyes. And this relaxation is really about watching your breath. So as you breathe in, you'll feel your hands move with the inhalation. And as you breathe out, you'll feel your hands fall back down. Letting all of the effort that you just were working so hard with, letting it all go. allowing the chair to really hold your body. Allowing your body to feel heavy and soft. And rather than trying to direct your breath or control it in any way, you're simply observing it. Toes and feet rest easy on the ground. Legs are soft, letting go of any contraction. Hips are heavy on the chair. Resting your back into the back of the chair, letting your arms hang. And the hands are just riding on your belly with each inhalation and exhalation. Just have a few moments of quiet here as you breathe and observe yourself breathing. If your mind starts to wander, just bring it back to what's happening right now. Your inhalation and exhalation, and the relaxation of your entire being. Slowly begin to come back to awareness. Take a deeper breath in. Begin to blink your eyes open. Let your hands help you on the chair to sit up a little more upright. Feeling once again that really nice alignment. Ears in line with shoulders. Center of your trunk right over the center of your hips. Knees right over the feet. Bring the palms together at the center of your chest. Just bow your chin. Thanks for being here and taking care of yourself, and be very well. Thanks for joining us.